Have you ever had that quiet, nagging feeling? That little voice in the back of your mind as you're sitting in traffic on your way to work, or staring at your bank account at the end of the month. The feeling that something about this whole system is off. You work so hard. You follow the rules. You try to save, you try to build something for yourself, for your family. And yet, it feels like you're running on a treadmill that's constantly speeding up. We live in a world of incredible abundance. We see billionaires flying to space. We see unimaginable wealth flashed on social media. We see governments produce trillions of dollars out of thin air to bail out banks. And yet we're constantly told that the reason we struggle, the reason there's poverty, the reason we have to worry about our future is because of one single, unshakable truth: scarcity. We're told money is a limited resource. But what if it's not? What if money is infinite? And if that's true, then the real, terrifying question isn't why there is poverty. It's why poverty is allowed asterisk to exist. To understand this, we have to go back in time. Not to learn a boring history lesson, but to witness the birth of an idea. The most powerful and perhaps the most dangerous idea in human history. It started innocently enough with merchants. Imagine the world centuries ago. Trade was booming, but it was clunky. Carrying around bags of gold and silver was dangerous and impractical. So, a clever solution emerged. Goldsmiths, people who already had secure vaults, began offering a service. You could deposit your gold with them for safekeeping, and in return, they'd give you a piece of paper, a receipt. This receipt was a promise. It said, "The bearer of this note can redeem it for this amount of gold at any time." Suddenly, trade became frictionless. Instead of moving heavy metal, people just exchanged these paper promises. An Italian merchant could buy wool from England simply by handing over a trusted receipt. The paper was the gold, because everyone believed in the promise it represented. Now, this is where the world changed forever. The goldsmiths, who were quickly becoming the first bankers, noticed something fascinating. People rarely came back to claim their actual gold. The paper receipts were so convenient that they just circulated, passing from hand to hand, as if they were the real wealth. And inside the vaults, the gold just sat there, collecting dust. An idea sparks in the mind of our banker. He's sitting on a mountain of gold that doesn't belong to him but is never touched. Meanwhile, other people are constantly coming to him, asking for loans. They need gold to start a new business or to fund a voyage. So he thinks, what if I lend them not the gold itself, but another receipt, a new promise? After all, the person taking the loan doesn't want the physical metal, they just want the ability to spend it. They want the paper. So he writes a new receipt, a new promise, backed by the very same gold that's already sitting in his vault, promising it to someone else. In that moment, money was created out of thin air. It was doubled. The amount of gold in the vault remained the same, but the number of paper claims to that gold had just multiplied. This wasn't a secret trick. It became the foundation of our entire financial world. It's called fractional reserve banking, and it's how money is still created every single day. When you go to a bank for a mortgage, the bank doesn't take a pile of cash from its vault and hand it to you. They simply type numbers into your account. A digital promise. Poof. Money created from nothing. The only thing that limits this creation is a confidence game. The system only works as long as we don't all show up at the same time and ask for our real gold, or in today's world, our physical cash. As long as we all believe in the digital numbers on the screen, the system holds. So if banks can create money from nothing, and governments can authorize the printing of trillions of dollars with a few keystrokes, something we've all seen happen repeatedly during global crises, then we have to face the unavoidable conclusion. Money is not scarce. It never has been. It is, for all intents and purposes, an infinite resource, a number that can be made as large as we need it to be. This is the point where the mind begins to short-circuit. Because if money is infinite, the whole narrative we've been fed our entire lives crumbles to dust. Scarcity isn't a natural law of economics, it's an artificial construct. So let's ask the question again. If money is infinite, why do we have poverty? Why are there people starving in a world that produces more than enough food for everyone? Why are we forced to live in a constant state of low-grade anxiety about paying our bills? The answer is as simple as it is chilling. Poverty is not a bug in the system. It is the single most important feature. The system doesn't exist to make everyone prosperous. The system exists to make us asterisk work. The real value in this world isn't the paper or the digital numbers we call money. The real value is you, your time, your energy, your skill, your labor, your life force. Money is simply the tool, the bait, used to get you to willingly offer up that life force every single day. And in order for that bait to work, it has to feel rare. It has to feel precious and hard to get. Imagine for a moment that tomorrow the government deposited $5 million into every single person's bank account. Money for everyone. No more poverty. On the surface, it sounds like a utopia. But what would happen? Would you still go to your 9-to-5 job? Would you flip burgers, clean offices, or drive trucks? Most people wouldn't. The entire economic machine would grind to a halt. And those who sit at the very top of the pyramid, whose power and wealth are built entirely on the foundation of our collective labor, would lose their control. This is the secret. Poverty creates the illusion of scarcity. And that illusion is what fuels ambition, competition, and desperation. The fear of being poor, the fear of ending up on the street, is the great motivator. It's the stick that is used to herd us into schools, into jobs, into careers we might not even like. Your parents tell you, study hard, get a good job, make a lot of money, otherwise you'll end up struggling. The entire message is predicated on the existence of that struggle. Without the terrifying spectacle of poverty, the promise of wealth would lose all its power. You only want to be rich because you're terrified of being poor. We're conditioned to see wealth and poverty as two sides of the same coin, a natural spectrum of outcomes. But they are not. One is the goal and the other is the necessary threat to make you chase that goal. It's artificial misery. And what about economic crises, recessions, market crashes? We're taught they are complex, cyclical, almost natural phenomena, like economic weather patterns. But within this framework, they serve a very different purpose. When too much money has been printed, when too much wealth exists in the system, it begins to devalue the bait. If everyone is doing well, the motivation to work harder slackens. A crisis is a controlled demolition. It's a way to wipe out vast amounts of this abstract, created money. It destroys savings, closes businesses, and puts people out of work, instantly plunging millions back into a state of fear and desperation. It restores the feeling of scarcity. It reminds everyone how fragile their security is, and once the recovery begins, people are more willing than ever to work for less, under worse conditions, just to feel safe again. It resets the game. It even extends to the ultimate act of destruction, war. We're told wars are fought over ideology, resources, or freedom, and sometimes they are. But on a systemic level, war is the most efficient way to destroy wealth and accumulate debt on a massive scale. Nations borrow unimaginable sums of money, money created from nothing, to build tanks, jets, and bombs. These instruments are then used to obliterate cities, factories, and infrastructure, actual, tangible wealth. When the war is over, what's left? A mountain of debt owed to the bankers who created the money in the first place, and a desperate population ready to work for generations to rebuild everything that was lost. War is the ultimate economic reset button. It re-energizes the cycle of debt, labor, and control. So where does that leave us? Living in this game, this illusion. A world that feels like one big casino, where the house always wins because it can print as many chips as it wants, whenever it wants. It can seem incredibly bleak. It can feel like we are completely powerless, just cogs in a machine designed by and for someone else. But knowledge is the beginning of power. Understanding the nature of the game is the first step to playing it differently. This isn't a call for revolution or collapse. It's a call for a personal, mental rebellion. You must first break free from the prison in your own mind. The belief in scarcity. When you truly, deeply understand that money is an infinite construct and that its scarcity is an illusion, your relationship with it begins to change. The fear that has been programmed into you starts to lose its grip. You stop seeing your self-worth as being tied to the number in your bank account. You start to see the systems of control around you not as natural laws, but as man-made rules to a game you were never meant to win. You can start to shift your focus from chasing the illusionary paper to building real wealth, skills, knowledge, community, resilience, creativity. Things that have intrinsic value, regardless of what the economy is doing. You stop playing their game of competition and fear, and you start creating your own game, based on collaboration, abundance, and purpose. The great lie only has power over us as long as we believe it. By waking up to the truth, by sharing this understanding with others, we start to dissolve the illusion. We don't have to wait for the system to change. We can change ourselves. And when enough of us do that, the system will have no choice but to change with us. Because a population that no longer fears poverty is a population that can no longer be controlled. And that is the one thing the architects of this system are truly afraid of.